Yo, what is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody is awesome out there. We still got Monday Night Football to deal with tonight. But I mean, a lot of contests did prove a lot of things this past week, that the NFL is truly a week-to-week league, and things do change and manifest the way they roll, man. Keeper trade is what we're talking about today. We got some players on the board that have extremely surpassed their values, others that are tanking their values, and we can still have the opportunity to move these players around or gain them as we so need to fix our clubs and keep this train going. First one on the board, Zach Moss. What do we do with Zach Moss? Jonathan Taylor inks his massive contract, and then Zach Moss goes off the chain one last time, potentially in fantasy football. But there is a clear role for this man, you got to believe, especially without an Anthony Richardson. Gardner Minshew is going to be the backup quarterback. He is still very viable to move this offense, and there could be legit 50-50 splits between Moss and JT for at least the next couple weeks until JT gets his football legs back up under him. But ADP-wise, man, the ROI for a Zach Moss right now is a massive plus 15. The trend is rising massively for Zach Moss because of this blow-up contest he had again this week. He is legit ranked this running back 6 right now. You cannot fade that 81.7 points. He's been an absolute baller. Where was this in Buffalo, Zach? I'm just asking. I mean, I'm a Bills fan, but I'm just asking, where was this in Buffalo? Right now, I do believe the value is too good to pass up, that we must trade and sell this man high. You could easily trade him to a team that is running back needy. Hopefully, you have other options, which you likely do, because you probably snagged Moss off the waiver wire anyway, and he's just been a wonderful aspect to your roster right now. If you can flip him for some wide receivers and another running back, I would absolutely sell him high this year, because ROI 53 is out of this world. You cannot get better value than that at this point. My guy, Chris Olave, CO2, this is a problem. This New Orleans Saints offense with a Derek Carr who is injured. Thankfully, he did save his day with that touchdown. But, I mean, the way that Olave plays football, he is the deep threat. He is still likely the wide receiver 1 on this team. Just he can't get the ball right now because Derek Carr's arm is falling off. It's not a good sign or a good situation. They are running the football with Alvin Kamara doing the checkdowns, and Michael Thomas, Slap Boy, is still getting in the mix right now. The ROI is minus 18 for a Chris Olave. Don't like it. It was not to be expected this way. He was ADP wide receiver 12. I fully expected him to be in this at this point of the season, at least be wide receiver 15. It has not come to pass just yet. We need more touchdowns to CO2. That is the biggest problem. 50 points right now. He's only got 43 targets. Not so bad. We want to see that up in the 60 range. This is part of the problem. While he does still lead, is one of the league leaders in air yards, you got to understand target share needs to be up around that 60-ish grade. I still like what the Saints are doing. They're moving forward in a positive way. If Derek Carr was fully healthy, this would change things and change the matter. Right now, you got to keep or buy low on a Chris Olave, because I think the season is not lost whatsoever on the man. I think that he still will provide that wide receiver 2 numbers we are looking for, but it's likely going to be anywhere from wide receiver 15 to 20 at this point, unless he starts scoring touchdowns. So either you keep him or buy him low. I think he still could be a low-end wide receiver 2 flex option for us at this point. David Montgomery, flash on the scene, man. They drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, and David Montgomery stole the show, said, I'm still a damn good running back, y'all. He was the ADP running back 28 rank. Right now is running back 7, ROI plus 21 in this really good Detroit Lions offense. It doesn't matter if Amon-Ra's out. They're still moving the ball. Yes, it's versus subpar competition, but they look good, and they have a dedication to feed a David Montgomery. 78 points. His trend is rising, man, and he is a good talent right now. Lots of carries coming his way. You got to keep yourself a David Montgomery, or you are actually buying high. I do not hate spending the dollars you got to spend to get him on your roster. His role isn't going anywhere. Coach Campbell loves the kneecap-biting type of running backs, and David Montgomery is definitely one of those. Outside of injury, this man will absolutely flirt with top 12 numbers to finish the entire season the way that this Detroit Lions offense is going. If Amon-Ra comes back to full health and they find a way to get J-Mo involved, this offense will be great, and they will not be able to stack the box versus the Detroit Lions. So you will have to pay a heavy price to get a David Montgomery off someone else's roster. But if you can manage it and buy high, and you're going to give up some pieces, just don't sell the farm and make it to a detriment of your club. You can still get him with players. You're going to have to give up players. That's all there is to it. You're going to have to find a way to get him. But I'm definitely in the opinion you can keep him or buy high, because he is that good. Puka Nacua. I'm still sticking with going Achua because it sounds better to me. Nakua is just killing it. Everybody thought, I told y'all, don't get worried. Puka's a player, man. Everyone's all worried that Cooper Kupp is back and Puka's just going to find his way to the bench, man. They got 2 wide receiver ones now on this team that play very similarly. And, I mean, we saw what Matthew Stafford was able to do versus the Philadelphia Eagles, able to force feed to Cooper Kupp, able to force feed a Puka on the regular. This ROI return is spectacular. I mean, a plus 87. He was off everybody's radar. Nobody expected a Puka to go off like this. Neither did I. If you say you did, you're lying because it was impossible to predict this one. I mean, this is part of fantasy football. Sometimes these guys hit and we just don't see it. We don't see it coming. Puka is definitely one of these guys. 63 targets, man. 572, 46 receptions. He's absolutely killing it. And with a Cooper Kupp, they're just going to be able to have a single coverages all over the field. And they're both going to have a role in this offense. Sean McVay, I give you some claps, man. I'll clap it up and cheers to y'all because you know what? He has figured it out with a Puka, with a Kupp, with a Tutu Atwell and Kyron Williams. Revamp this entire offense, and they look like a player. They figure it out. They get it moving in the right direction. They will be very, very good and very tough to beat, as we saw the Eagles did struggle with them as well. Like I said, ROI plus 87. You can trade this man or sell him on the high. This is not out of the question right now. Struggling teams will pay a heavy price for him. Like I said, with a David Montgomery, there is potential where you picked up a Puka off the waiver wire and you require a running back. This would be a great trade option. Puka for Monty, no kidding. You package that up, it's going to be very good, but you got to have options, right? Obviously, Puka's been producing extremely well. I don't hate keeping the man. I'm just going to put it out there, but when we're trying to find value to return to, round out the balance of our fantasy teams, Puka is definitely a sell high candidate for me because we don't know. Could they go back to the well and be Cooper Kupp show number 1 and then limit the target share to Puka Nacua? It's very, very, possible, but I just don't see it. I think he's going to be a big staple standard in this offense, but the value to return on investment right now, you can get a big boatload coming back for a Puka. No kidding about that. My guy Saquon Barkley, this has been a lost season for these New York Giants, and I don't think it's going to get much better at this point. I mean, Saquon right now still dealing with a high ankle sprain, potentially coming back this next week. Everybody who drafted him, I feel your pain, man. I got a couple shares of him as well, and it really does suck because he's been eating up space on my bench. ROI right now is a minus 21. He was the running back 5 in ADP, is sitting at 34 because of all that missed time due to injury. Only 32 points, but it's Saquon. This guy can game change any team in a second, in a heartbeat. But I mean, the way Daniel Jones has been playing now, he's dealing with a neck injury. We might be seeing a lot of Tyrod on the field at the quarterback position. His trend right now is up and down, only up because he could be coming back to the field. Outside of that, down is massive right now for his trend because this Giants team does not look good. And Saquon's going to have to be the savior and run for his life and, at least try to support this team. He's going to have to put up like 200 yards every single week, y'all. This is a big problem for this New York Giants and Saquon Barkley. Right now, you got to trade or buy low for a Saquon Barkley. Running backs are very difficult to keep for the entirety of a fantasy football season, and if he does get on the field, he will at least produce checkdowns. He will give you PPR upside, and Saquon is good enough to do it on his own. So if you can get him off somebody's roster and stash him, I absolutely say you do that. But, I mean, trading low, it's going to be tough. You're not going to get a lot. You can still get name cachet value to return for a Saquon. There's no kidding, because someone may still be like, yeah, I'll take a shot on Saquon because it's Saquon. But you definitely got to trade right now and buy low on a Barkley. Nico Collins, this guy, I'm telling you, okay, this was one of my misses. I can admit when I'm wrong because you're never going to be 100% in fantasy football. But Nico Collins, I was one of these guys that I was on the fence. I said, yes, he's good. He's a good talent. Do I believe he's great? And I'm still in that category. I don't think he's great. I just think CJ Stroud is great, and he's uplifting everybody in this offense. They should have won this last game versus the Atlanta Falcons if the defense could have made a stop. I told y'all, CJ Stroud's got ice in his veins, and he's going to make this team win eventually. Nico's going to be a big part of that. 77.2 points. He's been doing very well so far this season. The only caveat I'm going to put on that, he's booming, then he's busting. Booming, busting. It's a very much week-to-week thing for a Nico Collins in this offense right now. Wide receiver 57 was the ADP. He's got a plus 47 on his ROI. He's doing extremely well. I do like what the Houston Texans are doing in this offense. Excuse me, at this point. And I think they're going to continue to roll. There's only going to be continued maturation and growth for a CJ Stroud, and Nico Collins is still going to be a massive part of this offense. The only caveat I say again with this is that we're seeing against greater coverage, Nico is struggling. That is one part why I said, I'm not fully on board in believing he's an elite talent in this league to be. I just think he's a very good wide receiver one potentially in the future that could eat a lot of targets. You're going to keep or sell high on a Nico Collins because the ROI is plus 47. You got to get the values back, man, where people are struggling. The other teams want to, we're going into week 6, man. You got to understand where we're at. So teams are going to be, trying to do one last kick at the can to get into the fantasy postseason, and selling Nico on the high to get running backs and wide receivers in return is not a bad sign to do, but I do like him. You can keep him on your roster as well. It is very much viable for a Nico Collins. Isaiah Pacheco, these Kansas City Chiefs. Not the Chiefs that we've seen in the past where they're super high octane through the air with Patrick Mahomes. They are using a multitude of pieces to win football games, and Isaiah Pacheco is a big part of this offense. I undersold the fact that I didn't believe that Pacheco was going to do this well, but they obviously had to adjust and morph this offense into something a little different and lean on the ground game that much more. The head bobbing, high knees of an Isaiah Pacheco. He was running back 26, ranked at number 12 right now. ROI is a plus 14. Very good for an Isaiah Pacheco. Fantasy points almost at 70. You cannot hate this whatsoever from an Isaiah Pacheco, man. 71 carries. There is a dedication to this ground game, and he is producing. I thought at this point we'd see a little bit more Jerick McKinnon. We have not. It is sticking to a Pacheco to be the guy in this backfield. Right now you got to keep or sell high on a Pacheco. I'm kind of in the stance of saying you keep Isaiah Pacheco. It's been too good. This offense still with Patrick Mahomes can move the ball very well, and the point productivity you're getting in top 12 rank right now is good, and he is helping you at least get you that safe floor to win you your weeks. Keeping Isaiah Pacheco is not a bad situation, but if someone offers you something you cannot turn down, you can absolutely flip it and sell it high, but Pacheco is definitely on my roster at the time being. Last one I got is Tyler Lockett. The Seattle Seahawks moving in the right direction. Yes, they're coming off the bye week, so the point totals for Lockett don't look as good, but you got to understand what they were able to do the past few weeks before they went into the bye. Wide receiver 29 was the ADP. His rank is 48. This is a problem right now because I told y'all what the Seahawks do, okay? With the running back stable that they do have with a Kenny Walker and a Zach Charbonnet, that will increase as we move forward into the future of this season. However, there still will be an opportunity for Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf to be the guys we know they are. JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba has not been in this offensive scheme on the regular just yet. That will eventually come as well. So that is my fear, that they will start to see what they have in a JSN as the season does wear on. But at this point, Tyler Lockett is a fixture in this offense that we can somewhat trust on a weekly basis. You're talking low-end wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 numbers that he will put up. The ROI is a minus 19. Not good right now. Up and down only because of the fact of a JSN and how this offense loves to run the football. But coming off the bye, they should be very good. Tyler Lockett, at this point, you got to trade or buy low. I don't hate getting this guy on my team. And if somebody, again, name cachet is a big one when we're talking trading purposes because we know what these guys can do. Tyler Lockett is the staple of boom and then bust. Boom 2 games, bust 1. Boom or bust 2 games, boom 1. This is the MO for Tyler Lockett. You got to play matchups with him 110%. But when he goes off for 2 touchdowns, 2 tutties and like 100 yards. That is Tyler Lockett's game in this offense, and that should continue. But trading and buying low for this wide receiver to help your cause in your fantasy football team is definitely recommended. But hey, that is what we got to start week number 6 as we got Monday Night Football underway tonight. It's going to be a good one. Hopefully you guys got those dubs in your win column because I got some too, man. This week was decent but weird all in one mix. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.